Hello, this is Gerald Overwas. Letters in general are very easily associated with certain positions, and from these positions also some distractions of directions. And from these directions you can also say, okay, maybe some things only appear at certain time within certain time schedules, let's say, before we have a finalized version of what we are expressing. Words are expressing these things. They seem to be quite geometrically, but what with words like, for instance, cold, which seems to be a little bit abstract. So how do we describe them? With actually, which is basically foundations of a geometrical nature. The 1, 2, 3 rule we also know in mathematics as horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, or we also know in let's say geometry into middle surroundings and the surface, or the surface, or the edges, the limits around it. There are also 3 regions, 3 zones that are very physical. Within these physical zones, you can associate actually all the words already as an association, and I will demonstrate it with cold. I have here again my figure. The background here, what is before him, is actually a concentration upon what what the person sees as a fixed reality that he can use it. What is before him or underneath him, even he considers it like that. If it's further away, or in the environment, or if it's within a time schedule, of course it's not so close by, and you cannot have it into one fixed point. But the first 9 letters are concentrated around fixed points, like the letter C. And that's where we will start to look into. The C is within our physical reality scope, and it's also within our sensitive region that we know we can control. It can keep close enough to us, and that's that last grayish zone, which is already a little bit more vague than the middle part, which is very, 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 very physical. Here it is still within the physical realm, but it is also closer by. It's already somewhat in the environment, but it's still close by. We can sense it. It's still considered as that physical reality realm. The O, on the other hand, is of course not in the physical reality. It is in the zone of timing, as you see it here in the skies, and we can also sense it from our own viewpoint, from all what is surrounding us at our point now, and maybe also later, or from another viewpoint. In all this kind of comparison, there is the O. So now how do we combine C and O? There's a range, zone in between where we can start from, and it meets, of course, also this zone of C. So it also shows you where or less the C and O zone is combined. You have a combined zone of perspective. Make it a bit bigger, bit smaller, but it comes all down to that zone of C and O combined. And there it is. I can have it under my control if I even want. It's very much possible, and that I will do so, that I will use as my starting point to see what do I have here. The L, usually, if we have it only as a reference frame onto the physical reality without CO, then the L will be there in that physical reality where something is forming itself in the middle gray area, where something is forming. It says, okay, there's materializing something, a form is forming, and it's mostly best to express it with what comes out vertically, what pops out actually as a form. But it's in that in-between zone, of course, that we have to go to. We have the first two letters are C and O, so we have to start from C and O before we can add L. So here I will have that zone and we'll have to add L. I'll keep it as physical as possible, and I will keep it within that range there where it is most visible. And it is, of course, also something, because of the L, it is something that will be physically sensed. L is what comes physically, most physically forward actually from here. So I have that zone here still emphasized underneath. The O in its own also, you know that it starts from a starting point first and goes further, but it's not from my vision. It starts from this zone around it. So it starts from, not from O, but from Co. So Co will be combined with the L. So I have to add the L now in this zone from where I start from. I start from here within the zone. I start with that zone. That's what it actually is. The area of concentration is all that is surrounding, of course, this figure, but it's going forward with it. It's there where it starts from. It has to go to somewhere. Something is going to change and so on. But it starts from that zone. And what starts from that zone is L, something that is physically sensed. So this zone is indeed, yes, a kind of a physical sensation. But what does it do? Or where does it end in? Where does this physical surroundings, which we sense actually, which we also sense physically, it's not finalized in its totality. Something is changing there, and what is changing there is via the letter D. The D says no, it's going to change. It is changing. It is disappearing. It's going to something else. It's going to somewhere else. So the physicality that surrounds us, we're losing that energy actually. That is what's happening in cold. So because the attention with O is, I go from my moment where I know something is going to change, but to what it is going to change, it will not be there yet. It will go towards it, so it will go toward that moment as well, that where the change will occur. How much it will occur, how much the change there will be, is not fixed. It's the starting point of a movement of the material, and this material is something that can be sensed around us physically. So we have this outer surface around us, C and O, and it's emerging physicality that we can sense there, or L, and this moves away when the physicality of our surrounding, of the surfaces and so on, is moving to somewhere else. It is changing. It gives us shivers. It feels cold. It's the energy is going away. That's what cold is describing. So yes, with a physical reference, with a geometrical reference, you can describe cold as well, as you can see here in this word. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye.